renowned British Queen Boudica spearheaded an uprising against the Roman occupiers. Boudica in 30 AD. Boudica was born in southeast England. She wed Prasutagus, the leader of the Iceni tribe in southeast England, in 48 CE. They were granted some degree of independence from the Roman occupants while Prasutagus was alive, and they resided in Norfolk. Prasutagus was allowed to continue ruling the Iceni people while being under Roman rule. Roman domination brought the Iceni people many hardships, including hefty taxes and enslavement, despite its benefits. Roman law stipulated that the Roman emperor would inherit the majority of Prasutagus's belongings upon his death. But the local Roman commanders used this as an excuse to seize Prasutagus's and other important Iceni tribe members' whole possessions. During his life, Prasutagus accrued debts as well, and when his wife Boudica was unable to pay them, he publicly stripped and beat her. Her daughters were raped by Roman soldiers, according to the Roman historian Tacitus. Similar treatment of other tribes, such the Trinobants, fostered sentiments of discontent among the indigenous Britons. Colchester, a Roman city, was Boudica and the Britons' initial objective. With a shrine dedicated to the Roman Emperor Claudius, this city served as a symbol of Roman sovereignty. The Brits had little issue leveling the city to the ground because it was only weakly fortified. Suetonius, the Roman governor, was engaged in combat in Anglesey at the time. Upon learning of the news, he made his way to London, a tiny but bustling financial hub at the time. He thought about protecting London, but he left it with only a minimal arsenal because he was worried about the rising number of dissident Britons. As a result, the Britons were able to capture St. Albans and London. An estimated 80,000 or more people were slain in the three cities. Now, Boudica led her expanding army north to confront Suetonius's force. Along the journey, a Roman column of soldiers ambushed by Boudica's army was able to move down a tiny road. Eventually, somewhere along Watling Street, the two armies came up in a full fight. The Roman army was vastly outnumbered by the British, but they possessed better equipment, tactics, discipline, and training. The Britons were unable to employ their greater numbers because the Romans selected a confined area. A wave of Roman javelins stopped the first wave of Britons. With their wall of shields in place, the Romans held their ground and stabbed the Britons with their short swords as the second wave approached. By the end of the battle, up to 200,000 Britons had been killed while just 400 Romans had perished. According to conflicting accounts, Boudica either consumed poison or passed away from her wounds. Boudica has a deep fascination with the Victorian era. The statue of Boudica outside the London Houses of Parliament was commissioned by Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert. Ironically, considering her anti-imperialist views, Boudica came to represent the British Empire. After Boudica's uprising was put down, the Roman Empire was rocked and the Romans were on the verge of leaving England. However, Emperor Nero chose to replace Suetonius with Publius Petronius Turpilianus, a more impartial leader. Tacitus provides the majority of Boudica's historical materials. Given that Suetonius Paulinus employed his father-in-law Agricola as a military tribune, Tacitus most likely obtained first-hand knowledge about Boudica's uprising. There was a tragic accident in Britain. Rome lost the island, 2 cities were pillaged, and 80,000 Romans and their allies were killed. Furthermore, the fact that a woman was the cause of all this devastation brought the Romans the utmost shame. However, Boudica, a British woman of the royal family who was more intelligent than most women, was the main force behind arousing the natives and convincing them to fight the Romans, as well as the one who oversaw the conduct of the entire war. Extremely tall. Her gaze had a piercing quality. She spoke in a loud, angry voice. Her hair, which was thick and reddish-brown, fell below her waist. She always wore a long tartan cloak secured with a brooch and a magnificent golden torque around her neck.